What is up, YouTube? All my old school mechanics that likes rebuilding classic cars, or like classic cars as much as I do. My bass heads, all you guys out there bassing with big stereo systems, it's OG Sodda Pop Kid coming to you direct down here in my storage unit garage where I'm paying $275 a month. But anyway, in my last tutorial, I mentioned to you guys, well, not my last one, but one of my tutorials, I mentioned to you guys that I'm about to go back to an electric water pump, which I am. So I'm preparing for the water pump. I painted my timing cover black because the water pump's going to be black. All right, and I've been preparing, putting on new hoses. I might as well change the hoses. Hoses in my heater core right there. I got one brand new hose and I didn't make the other one yet because that water pump, they don't have the two top inlets. Okay, for one, the heater core hose goes to one, and then the water neck, which that's blocked off, that usually would drop down to a two and that's blocked off. Okay. From what I was told, Meziere Enterprises, they're the ones I'm getting my electric water pump from. They're in California. Okay, and I'm getting a heavy-duty water pump that pumps 42 gallons per minute. It has a 2-year warranty, so they say they give you 3,000 hours of operation. I don't even drive my car that much, so that water pump should last me almost 3 years, technically. And since I don't got the two inlets on the top of it, I got this aluminum tee made. The same guys that made my bumpers that I mentioned and my manual tensioner that I designed, they made this for me a couple years ago when I had a water pump before. So this will we'll make a tee down there where that hose goes to the bottom of the radiator. I'll put this in there and then run that hose from the heater core into this. So I had to make a tee for that. Okay, and I also painted my, let me show you what I did here. My alternator, my manual tensioner here. Remember, it was all silver and I sanded the rust off and painted it nice and black. That's gonna go right there, my manual tensioner. It's all nice and black and painted now, so it'll look good. Modifying. And I had to get like hoses. This hose I had laying around, it's a 23 inch hose. Let me lay this down. 23 and something inch hose. That fit, it fit. I had to slide this radiator over a little bit to compensate for this because when I had it moved over to the left, that hose was running up into this and then real close to that alternator and yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to have to make a bracket that comes off of here, like an L bracket, and comes up and moves out a little bit and then pull this out some. Because it's laying on the alternator, but it ain't like the alternator's gonna hurt it. All right, as long as it's fitting in there real good. Boom, boom, boom. All right. This, I'll keep this for something else. All right, there's my old water pump right there that I pulled off. The one that was going in reverse rotation because of the belt wrap. Now, the electric water pump from Meziere will spin in its right rotation. And the good thing about the electric ones is I can pull over and just turn my ignition on and then it'll move the water through and around the radiator and engine regardless. And I got, like I said, 4 electric 12-inch fans on here. I got 2 pushing and 2 pulling. So it should stay cool under here. It really should. It should stay at least 190. Well, at the most 200, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Okay? And while we're still on here, I'm going to talk to you guys about something real brief because I'm always having interesting stories. You know what I mean? And y'all going to find this funny, especially a lot of you mechanics out there. I live in New Kensington, Pennsylvania, which is 20 minutes from Pittsburgh. All right, it's one of those little boroughs. It's 20 minutes from Pittsburgh. And all the old school cars I've had, man, I've only found so many mechanics that's real good at what they do. One mechanic being Mike, my man Mike Sparing. He's one of the only dudes I trust right now. And a younger mechanic, well, they're both in their 30s. His other mechanic's name, his name is Mike Hoover. He's pretty good too. You know what I mean? He actually laid down on the ground and put new motor mounts on his engine with all these electronics in it. So, the rumor that's been going around for years is mechanics are afraid to work on my car because of all these electronics that I have in there. That's their excuse for being scared to work on a classic car. I'm afraid to work on his car because of all them electronics he got in there. And I'm afraid that we might break something. And Sodda Pop is so meticulous about all his stuff. Well, you damn right, man. Everything I got in here, I have it set up a certain way, positioned a certain way. Yeah, I am meticulous in all this hard work I've done and money I spent on my car. Sure, and so should anybody else that's letting you work on their cars. You know what I mean? And this is the weird thing. Like, I do my own tune-ups. I change my own oil. I put my own distributor caps and rotors and stuff in, so you ain't got to touch any of that. You ain't got to touch any of this. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't learned how to put my own harmonic balances on. I don't put my own power steering pump pulleys on or do my own power steering pump, so I don't do stuff like that. So, you're leaning over here doing that. You're not touching nothing. Duh, or you're up under the car. None of this has nothing to do with the brakes, a drive shaft, universal joints, rear end, or transmissions. So, what are y'all scared of? Y'all hear this? We're afraid to work on this car because of all the electronics he got in there. Ain't that wild, man? Ain't that the wildest stuff y'all ever heard? Wildest stuff I ever heard, bro. Unbelievable when a 33-year-old mechanic laid on his back and put motor mounts up under there with everything in there. He didn't have to unhook anything but the bolts to the motor mount on his back in his own mother's garage, people. Boy, I'm telling you, Pennsylvania, man, it's got to be the weirdest place I've ever lived, man. And I kid you not. Unbelievable, man. So darn slow. 5 years behind, like I said, in the played out tutorial. Stuff being played out. Boy, I'm telling you, man. The opportunity to leave here. Like I said, there's only a couple mechanics I'll let touch this car. My man Mike Sparing down at STS, Sparing Transmission Service. He's about, one of the only dudes I trust on anything. Real honest dude. He rebuilds transmissions, but he does all mechanic work in that shop. Excellent in rebuilding transmissions. If I ever need a transmission, he's the one that's going to do it. You know what I mean? He's the only one I really would let touch my car. Real honest guy, real cool dude, man. You know what I mean? So you Pittsburgh cats or call Sparing Transmissions, man. If you ever need anything done, all the mechanics in there are good mechanics, man. They do their work. You know what I mean? Otherwise, dude, boy, I'm afraid to work on his car because of all the electronics he got in there. Boy, oh boy. So that's it, y'all. Getting my new electric. It'll be in Friday. This is Wednesday, April the 12th. That'll be in there. And I'm off Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays from cutting hair. That's what I do for a living. I'm a barber. I've been a barber for 45 years, cutting hair professionally since 1987. That's what I do for a living. 8 to 10 hours standing up, making funny-looking people look pretty. That's what I do. Okay? So, I got off and came down here because I ordered these hoses and clamps, all these new clamps right here, all the good kind of clamps for putting on my new hoses and yada, yada, yada. Sodda Pop Kid over and out. Peace. Oh, there's going to be a part 2 to this. This is part 1. when I get the water pump on, of course, I'm going to, fire it up. You know what I mean? Make sure, purge it, make sure everything's good. And then I'll get back to you. YouTube, all my mechanics and bass heads. Peace.